General John Keane is someone who throughout his life has worn the uniform of the American soldier. When it comes to implementing policy, whether that policy, as Richard said, is the policy of expediency or the policy of principle, we've always been fortunate in our country to have people who Richard talked about in the 9/11 Commission, to have people willing to stand up for American values aggressively. Jack Keane, as a retired four-star general and vice chief of staff to the United States Army, among his many duties and litany of accomplishments, I think we only need to name two. He's the recipient of the Silver Star and the Bronze Star for heroism under fire. This is a man who doesn't just talk the talk, but he walks the walk. And that's why it's so appropriate that we have him here today. Please give him a great round of applause and welcome him to the podium.
Thank you. But let me associate my remarks with my distinguished colleagues here in terms of your issue, the challenges that you face, and also how well they outline the solutions. My contribution today is in an attempt to be brief, is to focus on Iran and United States policy. Because if we can resolve that issue, many of the other problems in the Middle East can be resolved, to include the MEK. The Iranian bungled operation to use proxies to assassinate the Saudi Arabian ambassador to the United States and to purposely plan the operation in the United States is a stunning rebuke to the Obama administration's policy of negotiation and isolation with the Iranians. I provided the remarks that you're about to hear about 2 weeks ago to the Congress of the United States in a combined committee dealing with our issues with Iran. Indeed, Republican and Democratic administrations since 1980 have failed to deal effectively with the harsh reality that Iran is our #1 strategic enemy in the world. In 1983, their proxies, the Hezbollah, blew up the American embassy, the Marine barracks in Lebanon, and the embassy annex the following year, with a total of almost 500 lives lost. We not only had no response to this tragedy, but we pulled our troops out of Lebanon. In 1983, the Iranian-backed Al-Dawa extremist group blew up the United States Embassy in Kuwait and attacked Raytheon's residential area, killing and wounding over 80. In 1984, the CIA station chief in Lebanon, William Buckley, was captured and eventually killed, which was the beginning of an Iranian-backed campaign to take high-profile hostages over a 10-year period. This led to the poorly conceived and ill-fated operation by the Reagan administration to exchange arms for hostages with the Iranians. In 1985, TWA Flight 847 was seized while en route to Rome, was forced to land in Beirut, which led to the killing of a U.S. Navy diver and dumping his body on a tarmac. Eventually, the airplane hostages were released as the Israelis released hundreds of extremist terrorists from Israeli jails. In 1996, the U.S. Air Force Khobar Towers barracks in Saudi Arabia was blown up by the Iranian-backed Hezbollah, killing 19 and wounding almost 400. Again, although our intelligence apparatus identified the culprits as Iranian-backed Hezbollah, we had no response, and we eventually shut down the United States military bases in Saudi Arabia. Since 2003, in Iraq, the Iranians have provided rockets, mortars, enhanced, improved explosive devices, and money to the Shia militia who are directly involved in killing U.S. troops in Iraq. Moreover, the Iraq Shia militia were trained by the Iranian Special Operations Force, the Quds Force, at training bases in Iran. While the Iranians were defeated politically and militarily in Iraq in 2009, the President's recent decision to withdraw all troops from Iraq puts our hard-fought gains in Iraq at risk and plays into the hands of the Iranians. Maliki, as we speak, is undermining his political opponents. He's driving key Sunni leaders out of the military, and he's consolidating his power base. The attack on Camp Ashraf is part of this strategy, with the Iranian fingerprints all over it. Similarly, the Iranians are supporting the Taliban in Afghanistan with money and ammunition. The action arm for Iran's state sponsorship of terrorism outside of their borders is led by General Qasem Soleimani, who has been in charge for over 15 years. General Soleimani has no military or political boss. He answers to only one person, the supreme leader in Iran, Khomeini. We must conclude that for General Soleimani to plan an operation inside the United States that would result in Americans being killed